Welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, we're going to do a little call-in show action tonight, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I didn't come on at 8 o'clock because I was at the Signed with Sauce event at Buffalo Wild Wings down in Willowbrook Mall. Very, very cool. Tons of people came out. Thank you to everyone that came out and said hi. Really neat. We got to do a happy birthday Sauce Gardner. He turns, 22 probably? End of the month, I think is what it was. I posted those videos both to YouTube and to Twitter if you'd like to see the happy birthday part of that. But very, very excited. We got a whole bunch to talk about tonight. We've got the Aaron Rodgers first game as a New York Jet. How did he perform? Mekhi Becton becoming the right tackle for the starting lineup. Talking about our offensive and defensive line, the lines in the trenches. Talking a little bit about Corey Davis, him retiring. I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. Should we get another wide receiver? And then finally, the final 53-man roster. Heard a few players get cut. Trey Dean and, Bam Knight, two of those players. We're going to hear a few more over the course of the next few days, but I want to hear your thoughts on what you think about all that. We're going to get to your calls around 9:30. You get 3 minutes on the clock, and after 3 minutes... That's it. You're out of here. You get the chicken. So remember, don't want to get the chicken. Make sure you have everything dialed in prior to having me pick up your call. We do have a poll question in the chat tonight. Who were you most impressed with over the course of the preseason? Zach Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, Mekhi Becton, or other? You can comment down below. Very excited to see what you guys have to come up with. I'll show you guys my Sauce Gardner signature. So you guys know last year, Buffalo Wild Wings invited me out to do the Signed with Sauce event, and I got his signature on a picture. I got a shirt, a hat, and a bottle of sauce. This year, I got a bottle of sauce with Sauce's signature on it. Very cool, very nice to see him. As soon as I saw him, I was like, yo, Sauce, big year this year. Very excited. All that good stuff. Looking forward to it. See a bunch of you guys in the chat. Let's do a little roll call action. David Gerard says, hoping they moved on from Trey Dean so quickly, thinking he may make it through while teams are focused on their own cuts. I do think that's kind of where they're aimed at for Trey Dean and Bam Knight. Duncan says there's a nice One Jets Drive episode tonight. I'll have to watch it. I saw it dropped on my way home. I did not get the opportunity to watch it yet. James Bernard says, hope Bam Knight makes it to the practice squad. This Dalvin Cook signing was a mistake. We'll see how it all plays out. I don't think it was, though. Scott says, Ryan, what's up, brother? Nice to see you, Scott. Greg says, yeah, boy. Edward Ziff drops in saying JETS. Zachary says, I'm so excited for JJ. He's going to be good and solidify himself as Edge 1. Completely agree. JSN would be pretty nice right now, but our depth at tight end and running back will help the passing game. JSN is hurt right now, too, so he's not even playing. James says, bring back Mims and the Dalvin Cook signing. Screw over Bam if another team picks him up. Look, I do think Bam could wind up getting picked up, but I don't necessarily think Bam's better than Dalvin Cook. And I don't know where else you're going to spend the $7 million on a running back when you have $20 million in salary cap right now. So I'm not going to lose too much sleep over this. Zachary says, Jason Brownlee making the team. How you feel? I think it's possible. I was a little colder on him the last week and a half or so, where I probably would have given the nod to Malik Taylor because of Rodgers' reliability or Rodgers' confidence in him. And then also Gibson, I thought played well, along with Irvin Charles. I thought both those guys played well. John says, Corey Davis quits on team 2 weeks before the start of the season. Davis drops the ball one last time. I don't necessarily see it the same way. It's from what it sounds like, he's been talking about retirement for the last few months, dating back to this the spring. So ultimately, I think what probably happened was the Jets were like, hey, take as much time as you need. We're going to figure this all out. We'd like to know by one point or another, because we'll either maybe move you, ask you to restructure. And I think he just sort of deemed like, hey, look, I've made some good money. let's get out of this while I can. He's a family man. I have no issues with Corey Davis making the best move for himself. Scott says, imagine being mad. We have Dalvin Cook instead of Zonovan Knight. Yeah, a little silly. Edward Ziff says, let's make Green Bean happy. I'm keeping Kenny Yeboah. Put one of the injured reserve players on IR. It's entirely possible that's what ends up happening. We shall see. NYJ today. What's good, brother? He says, one Jets drive was fire. Now I got to watch it. I was going to watch it anyway, but I didn't get to watch it yet. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they have to say on that side of things. Party with Peg and Artie. Good evening, Ryan. Gents. Let's effing go, Jets. Glad to have you in here. I should have probably prepped some stuff to get the final screenshots of everything up, because I think I had them queued up, but I didn't actually have them queued up. But I think I got them pulled up now. So we'll roll with this right now. All right. So let's talk a little bit. We'll go down the little topic list, as you see right here. So Aaron Rodgers and his performance. How did I feel that he did week 3 of the preseason? Obviously, we didn't have Dwayne Brown out there, and we didn't have Breece Hall or Dalvin Cook. So overall, main chunk of the offense, 4/5 of the starting offensive line, technically 5/5 because Billy Turner is going to start at left tackle right now until Dwayne Brown can come back. It doesn't sound like he'll be ready for week 1 as of right now. I was pleasantly surprised. Offensive line-wise, sure, there was a little bit of concern. You're facing against the Giants' backups. But overall, Isaiah Simmons was the only player that really got pressure, and the Giants had to send consistent blitzes in order to get to Aaron Rodgers, or at least to make him feel uncomfortable. Like the 1-0 blitz, Rodgers winds up throwing the ball in an option route to Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb winds up running in. Rodgers throws it out. I don't consider that a bad pass. I just think it's a mix-up in terms of where each player thought they were going to wind up being. Ball wound up falling incomplete. Rodgers, Isaiah Simmons coming off the edge. Michael Carter coming in to chip. Isaiah Simmons gets around him. Rodgers winds up having to throw, winds up falling and throwing sidearm out of bounds. Again, throwaway pass, nothing I'm real concerned about. The only one that I felt like maybe he had one get away was the pass to Uzama over the middle, where Uzama was cutting more towards the sideline, ends up getting overthrown because Rodgers thought he was going to run up the field a little bit more. Was it a miscommunication? Was it a bad throw from Rodgers? I don't necessarily know, but either way, not too upset with that side of things. I see Bearded VTR becomes the newest member of the channel. Thank you so much, Bearded. It's like Beer Dad, Bearded. YouTuber. Glad to have you, dude. I'd give you a little JETS action, but I did not reset up my little pads over here. So go for you. Thank you all the same. Overall, yes, I do think that Aaron Rodgers had a pretty good debut. Look, him and Garrett Wilson are going to be a lethal combination between the two of them. You saw how fast Aaron Rodgers got the ball out, and he immediately looked towards Garrett Wilson on every single play. So if you're telling me, hey, are we concerned about chemistry? Not with Garrett Wilson. I guarantee you're going to see Garrett Wilson, you're going to see Lazard, you're going to wind up seeing Randall Cobb as the first 3 wide receivers. And then I would even throw in Malik Taylor as another option where Rodgers could feel comfortable with the 3 receivers he's been with, plus Garrett Wilson. I think Mecole Hardman has that little bit of a dropsies, injuries kind of issue where I don't know if he's going to start right away. And then obviously you have guys like Gibson and things like that a little bit further down the list. And hopefully you don't have to get to them because you're utilizing your tight ends, your running backs, and all that good stuff. But overall, as far as what we got from Rodgers, I thought it was a pretty decent day. Edward Ziff comes in and says, can't remember seeing Yeboah drop any passes. I think it's more so the other tight ends we have as opposed to what Yeboah maybe has or has not done. I mean, you're talking about Uzama and Conklin definitely making the team. Ruckert, 4th round, 3rd round, whatever he was, pick. Just last year, obviously going to make the team. And then you have a highly drafted, most athletic tight end to ever come out of college in Zach Kuntz. Are you going to carry 4 tight ends? And if you are you going to keep Yeboah a special teams ace or a guy that projects well for the next maybe 4 years in Kuntz? So I get the feeling Yeboah may have his days numbered unless they decide to cut one of these other players. Like if you wanted to say, in my ultimate 53, I said, we're going to keep Chaz Surratt. Now, maybe they say, no, we're not going to keep him because we think he can make it to the practice squad, where maybe other players like, Yeboah or Kuntz might not make it to the practice squad. So maybe they change it up a little bit. But overall, I'm not going to be beat up if we wind up missing on Yeboah. Overall, though, I really liked what we got from Aaron Rodgers. I'm glad no one got hurt. I'm glad he only played the 2 series. I think if Randall Cobb didn't have the illegal crackback block, the Jets would have at least been on another scoring opportunity. They were moving the ball very efficiently across the field. Again, Giants backup, so a little grain of salt, but overall, I like what we saw from the starting unit, especially the starting defensive side of things. Now, moving on from Aaron Rodgers, I want to talk a little bit about what Rodgers had to say about Mekhi Becton and the offensive line.
It is amazing to see when you empower people, when you encourage people, when you wrap your arms around people, you see the personality start to come out. You see the confidence start to grow. And I think that's what we've tried to do with Mekhi, and make him feel like he's a part of this and make him feel important. And he's returned that love and trust and support with a lot of really good play.
So it definitely seems like Rodgers and that moment that him and Mekhi Becton had on the sidelines, was it last week on One Jets Drive or Hard Knocks, where they kind of embraced arm in arm and he said, hey, look, let's have lunch together this year, or, this week. And Mekhi Becton's like, oh, I want to protect you, your blind side, that sort of thing. And it seems like Rodgers has kind of endeared himself to everyone on the team, not just like the offensive players, not just the defensive players. He's trying to have lunch with all these different teammates so he can get to know them, and it builds a better camaraderie, and having that nurturing environment for Mekhi Becton, who I'll admit the last few years has seemed, or I shouldn't say last few years, but the last few weeks, when I went to training camp, Mekhi Becton was very much on the outside of huddles or on the outside of like team bonding. Like, it very much did not feel like Mekhi Becton may have been a part of this team, and that was a big concern of mine. And you heard some of the beat guys talking about, oh, maybe there's a trade worked up with Mekhi Becton. He may not be on the final 53-man roster, all these different things. And seeing Rodgers start to recognize that and then maybe bring Mekhi Becton along, Robert Saleh acknowledging that Mekhi Becton has played really well and he has earned the starting right tackle spot, I think is absolutely huge. And I think Mekhi Becton could be our best offensive lineman if he can stay healthy and on the field. Now, obviously, AVT for me is the player that I kind of consider as our, top dog as far as that goes. But the two of those guys, one next to the other, it's going to be a really impressive thing to watch over the course of this season. Let's pull back up Mekhi Becton over here. Bam! Mekhi Becton earns right tackle 1. So by and large, offensive line, look, I'm not going to lie. I am a little concerned. I think you're talking about left tackle, Dwayne Brown not being available for the first game of the season. Billy Turner has been a turnstile. I am not confident in our left tackle at this particular point in time. Laken Tomlinson, he was struggling when Dwayne Brown was next to him at left tackle. Is he going to be able to pick up a little bit of slack maybe for someone like Billy Turner, or is he going to at least play better than we saw last year? Laken Tomlinson, I thought, was the most disappointing of all our offensive linemen, and he's saying, look, the Jets' offensive line by the end of the season could be one of the best lines in the league. Come out and show it. Let's see some increased play here. I think Rodgers getting the ball out really fast is going to be a stark difference between what we saw last year with Zach Wilson and the dancing around in the backfield, holding on to the ball too long. I think it's going to be night and day different. At the center position, I do expect Connor McGovern to start. I do think that Joe Tippmann will come in to start probably around the bye week. I think the bye week's like, week 7, I think, and then the Giants are week 8. So I think week 8 or whenever the Jet-Giant game is, that's when we'll eventually see Joe Tippmann starting at center. McGovern's going to start the season at that. AVT, obviously a lock at right guard as long as he's going to be healthy, and Mekhi Becton's going to be right tackle as long as he's healthy as well. So very clearly the Jets, piecing together the offensive line. You want to see all these guys play together. Now, I'm not confident in any stretch of the imagination. Like, I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, wow, would have been really nice to have Orlando Brown, a guy that could play left tackle and right tackle. The Jets apparently offered him the most money between us and Cincinnati, and he just decided, hey, Cincinnati's got Joe Burrow. They got a bunch of weapons. I'm going to go there. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be a New York Jet. I can't sit by and wait and determine what's going to happen. Like, that's the worst part about having Aaron Rodgers a little bit later, is we did not get Orlando Brown, because then you could have at least had to not worry about the health issues of Mekhi Becton or even Dwayne Brown for that matter. But it's nice to see that Joe Douglas was at least proactive, and he offered more money than the team that he ultimately went to. So at that point, it's not like the Jets were cheap. They held their pennies and they said, oh, hey, we're not going to pay Orlando Brown top dollar because we don't think that's what he's worth. No, Jets clearly thought that's what he's worth. He took less money to go to a different team. Not an issue or a reflection on Joe Douglas in any stretch of the imagination. Now, I want to hop over to a defensive line play that I really, really liked from the other day. And I just want to say, oh, hold on, let me switch this up here. Did not get this queued up. Way to go, Ryan. Way to go. All right. So defensive line play. This was from the other day. This was the Jermaine Johnson sack. I'm going to play the beginning portion of it so you guys can see what happened. Tyrod Taylor steps up. Jermaine Johnson sacks him. So now I want to talk about just how good this defensive line is, because this is coming from all sorts of angles. On your left-hand side of the screen, you're going to see Jermaine Johnson, one of his hands in the dirt. Then you see Quinnen Williams lined up in front of the left guard. You see John Franklin Myers out wide, closer to the right tackle. And then Bryce Huff is wide right. They keep a tight end in to chip on Bryce Huff because he has been so lethal off the edge. They're going to have him and the right tackle kind of at least give a little bit of help. The tight end does eventually go out for a pass, but at least the chip was in there. They acknowledge that Huff is very tough to cover, to kind of stop. Watch what John Franklin Myers does, because there's been a lot of fans that have been really getting angry at John Franklin Myers for not being, living up to the contract that he signed. As soon as he signed the contract, there's all these issues like, oh, he's not showing out the stats for what you paid for. Well, there's stats that go unseen. Jermaine Johnson got the sack, but this was a sack created by the entire defensive line. Watch John Franklin Myers in front of number 70 right here on the Giants offensive line. Watch how he collapses the entire center of this line down the entirety of the way. Watch this. Takes the right guard, drives him into the center, and the left guard is sitting right there. He takes 3 players out of this play. Quinnen Williams wraps around him in a little bit of a stunt here, comes rushing free up the middle. Look at this. Right guard, not the type of feet you want to have in this particular situation. Then you look at Jermaine Johnson coming off the edge. Tyrod Taylor is going to have to step up because of Quinnen Williams' pressure, thanks to John Franklin Myers clearing out the inside here. And then JJ uses these long arms as Tyrod comes around in front, and he gets this sack. Doesn't allow him to go anywhere. So as much as defensive line stats and like sacks and everything are huge, and people are gonna make a big deal about Quinnen and Carl Lawson and Jermaine Johnson, all these guys that are not getting the sack but also attributing to the sack, like John Franklin Myers, doing a really, really good job here. Very excited to see what we get out of our defensive unit. We legitimately could have the best defensive line in the NFL. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Do you think the Jets have the best defensive line? We're up there. The Eagles, the 49ers, those are probably the only teams that the Jets are contending with when it comes to who is really top dog. I would take the Jets' 3 defensive lines, because I believe our starting defensive line and our second string defensive line could be starting on the majority of teams around the league. And then our third string line, vastly better than all the backups that they're going to face. I think this is 100% could be the best defensive line in the league. Blitz Crew drops in. Blitz Crew says, got my Talking Jets shirt in today. We need a top-tier swing tackle with our offensive tackle injury history. Maybe Beachum or Collins trade. Interesting, Blitz Crew. I'm glad you got your shirt. Very excited. I was delayed on that. Blitz Crew bought a ticket for our group buy over, where is it? Over there. Chargers Jets Week 9 over at talkingjets.com if you guys want to get in on that. Blitzkrieg bought one of those, and I was delayed in getting him his shirt, and I'm very sorry for that. But I'm glad you got it ahead of time. We'll be able to wear it out to the game. As far as a Beachum or Collins trade, La'el Collins is the one that intrigues me the most. But I think we'll wait through cut down day. And then I think the Jets are going to wind up waiting for an injury to happen. We have $20 million in salary cap space right now, and I think we're going to have a little bit more time before we ultimately make a decision on, are we going to add an extra offensive lineman, because they're hoping the guys they have on the roster right now are going to stay healthy. Now, if they have a trade that they think they can't pass up, then I would endorse making that move. But not crazy on Beachum. Was he on the Cardinals last year? Is that where he still is? Collins would be the one that I would be keeping an eye on. Abe says, my girlfriend brought a football for Sauce to sign, but he was only able to sign the Sauce bottles. Yeah, that's what happened to me last year. I had my Sauce jersey, I had my pilot hat, and I was like, oh, Sauce, can you sign one of these? And his agent was like, nope, we're only signing the pictures at the time. And then today it was just the bottles of Sauce. So I got my signature Sauce signed by one Sauce Gardner, and that was it. But that's all right. But I understand the frustration, because I definitely felt like I could have got something else signed. But let's be honest. If he was signing 2 things from every person that came up, it would take twice as long. That's ultimately what I'm all right. I want to talk a little bit about Corey Davis. Corey Davis retires. I haven't done a call-in show since this happened. Was it middle of last week? I guess it was middle of last week. It was after training camp on Wednesday, I guess, right? Was the last open practice. So how are we feeling about Corey Davis? Do you think we need an additional offensive lineman? Do you think we need an additional offensive weapon? I've heard rumors, Hollywood Brown from the Arizona Cardinals, they're having a fire sale. Could you wind up getting him? Darnell Mooney from the Bears, could he potentially be an option now that they have Claypool and DJ Moore? I think the Jets fans are going to be sniffing around any opportunity that you have to potentially make this team better. But with the tight ends we have and the running backs we have, I do think we're going to try and rely on those position groups and maybe not quite as much on wide receiver. I mean, honestly, I thought Corey Davis was going to be a wide receiver too. I think right now, with him being gone, you're saying Lazard is wide receiver 2, and then either one of Cobb or Hardman is going to be wide receiver 3. Look, I think you got to keep an eye on the trade market. Keep your hand on the pulse. And in the event that a Devontae Adams or a Mooney or a Hollywood Brown become available, gauge what the price is. Because if the Jets are looking good by the trade deadline, end of October, the Jets have 2, maybe 3 losses. You think this could push you over the edge? You go and get it done. But overall, I wish Corey Davis nothing but the best. I was really looking forward to seeing him play this year because of all the poor quarterback play he's had to deal with up to this point in his career. I was very surprised to see him leave now that we finally have Aaron Rodgers, but I think it's ultimately a family move. I've said it before, the average age of a male in the United States is 75 years old. The average age of an NFL player at death is 55 years old. This game will take 20 years off your life. Corey Davis, a clear family man, I think acknowledges some of the detriment that comes with taking all these hits all the time. Now, I will say the safety technology has increased drastically over the last 15, 20 years, and those 55-year-old age marks are going to start being elevated. So it won't be as dire as it is right now when some of the players that are playing in the last 10 years start to get up there in age. Landon comes in. Landon says, just bought 4 jerseys from Parts Unknown. White, Quinnen, black, Gardner, green, Hall of Fame, AVT. Hoping to be off work and home for week 1. Landon, I'm going to be at week 1. I'm very excited. Week 1's going to be wild against Buffalo, but I like this. I like this a lot. I did get a white Quinnen. I got the Legacy Quinnen. I have my green Sauce jersey. I have a white Breece Hall jersey that my coworkers got me when I stepped down from my position at Black Bear. And then I have an AVT jersey, but it's not technically a football AVT jersey. It's like I got sponsored through like the channel last year, and they gave me an AVT jersey, but it was in their color, so it's like black and blue. Elijah Vera Tucker jersey, which, you know, a little different, I guess, but excited nonetheless. AVT will be my next jersey for sure. So Landon, thank you so much for hopping in here. Blitz Crew jumps in. Blitz Crew says Jalen Reagor is available, would be a good deep threat to limit the Garrett double teams despite the drops. I never really liked Jalen Reagor, but I guess I see why he would be available. You have Devontae Smith and you have A.J. Brown. Reagor being available just kind of makes sense. I'll be honest, I don't particularly like or want him, but I trust whatever Rodgers and Douglas say on this. So if that's the route, then it is what it is. New York Jets 24. Thank you for the super chat. He says, Ryan, the only concern I have with the Jets defense, they have to cut down on late hits, personal fouls, especially on third down, and keep drives alive. I completely agree. I mean, how many times last year did we see John Franklin Myers in particular cause us all sorts of headaches? Long play. Bengal game. Tease off on Joe Burrow. Unnecessary roughness. They get an extra shot at it. They wind up scoring a touchdown. I think it was the next play to Tyler Boyd, like a 65-yard touchdown. Can't have it. He was also the same player that wound up hitting Mac Jones and negated a pick six that the Jets have. Jets wound up losing that game because of that. We got to cut down on after the whistle blows or before the whistle blows. No pre-snap penalties, no post-whistle penalties. Now, I do think the Giant game, there was a little bit of bullshit that went on because you had Jermaine Johnson get flagged for an unnecessary roughness on Tyrod Taylor, but I don't think that was unnecessary roughness. I think Tyrod just tripped over shit that was on the outside of the, you know, the field, first down marker, whatever it is going on over there, and he winds up falling over, and Jermaine Johnson just happened to have his hands, like, extended. There was no, like, push onto the quarterback, but the ref's just like, all right, we're throwing flags. We're letting everyone know that we're throwing flags right now. Bullshit. Get me all sorts of fired up. Edward Ziff says, got a signed Kenny O'Brien jersey, number 7. Good for you, Edward. I'm a fan. Real Ministries says, I started following some 49ers YouTube pages to see what they are saying about Sam Darnold. Just want to say, you Jets YouTube guys do a way better job and are way more reasonable. Thank you, Real Ministries. The Jets YouTube content sphere is incredibly strong when you look at the rest of the NFL YouTube guys. Like, I know Philly's got a few guys. Miami has a few really good guys. Dudley Do-Wrong, TD, both really good. Dolphins YouTubers. The AFC East in general, really good. Dan Mitchell, Hashtag Sports, Buffalo Fanatics. There's a bunch of really good Buffalo Bills guys as well. But when you start getting out to, like, the West Coast teams, I don't know them as much. I think part of it is I just haven't collabed with that side of things. But there's a clear quality difference right now. And I think it's clearly like there's a lot of Jet fans where maybe there's not as many as some other fans that are making content and doing all that stuff. So there's a lot of competition. But thank you so much for noticing. Greatly appreciated. John says, what about Will Fuller? I don't want him. Always gets hurt. Cody Dog says, Hard Knocks tomorrow. Damn right. Looking forward to it. Zach Rosenberg says, surprised they cut Trey Dean. He had a great preseason and can play safety and linebacker. Not to mention they gave him the highest signing bonus of any of the undrafted free agents. So something to keep an eye on. They're going to hope that he winds up making it to the practice squad. So I guess let's talk a little bit about that. Final 53-man roster. We lose Bam Knight and Trey Dean. 2 players that I will say, did I have it up? I think I had it pulled up. Oh, tell me I did not. Did I not save it? I did not save it. Rats. Oh, I have my final 53. Give me 1 second. I just got to pull up the image file. All right. Let's hop over to that. So this was my final 53-man roster prediction. I had Bam Knight getting cut, possibly making the practice squad, and I did have Trey Dean getting cut, possibly making the practice squad. So clearly, as of right now, your boy is 2 for 2 on what he thought was going to happen. Now, I hope those guys do make the practice squad. I think Zach Kuntz is a risky cut because of his metrics and just the size, the speed, everything that goes into him, if he could possibly make the practice squad. Outside of that, maybe Tanzel Smart gets picked up by another team. I really like him, but we have such depth on the defensive line that if we wind up losing him, good for him. I want to see him do well. Other than that, I'm not too concerned with our potential practice squad guys that wind up getting picked up over the course of this. Oh, see, look at Fins fans. We got some people getting a little salty with you right now. Hold on, let me pull that back up. He's saying Sauce equals the holding king. All right. I've heard this before. You're allowed to touch the wide receiver. You're just not allowed to redirect him. And after the Jets have been called for the last 15 years, like, we did not have one unnecessary roughness called against us all of last year. So if you think I'm going to be upset that Sauce Gardner was not called for a 5-yard fucking holding penalty, Fins fan, go sit on it and rotate, because there is no way I'm going to feel bad whatsoever. The Jets fans were absolutely on the wrong end of every single penalty for like the last bunch of years. Sauce touching someone while he's running down the field and not impeding his ability to catch the ball. Kick rocks, dude. Kick rocks. Wish I could throw the freeze out there. Get me all fired up. All fired up. All right. Let me get the call-in number put up on the screen. Give you guys the opportunity to hear your voice. Hear your comments. All right, I'm going to pin this as the top comment. We're going to end our poll question. Our poll question was, let's see, did I end up ending it? Yes, I did end it. Who are you most impressed with? Jermaine Johnson with 48% of the vote, Mekhi Becton 37% of the vote, Zach Wilson 11% with 318 votes cast. So overall, very, very pleased with how that all turned out. Let's go to the phone lines. Number is pinned in the live chat. All you have to do is click that link and then head over. You get 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, I eject your ass from the cockpit. We're going to do this until about 10 o'clock. See where it goes. See what you guys have to say. Phil says, Ryan, hope the fam is okay in Florida. With Hurricane, I'm here too. Hopefully you're all right there, my friend. I wish you all the best. Everything I've heard, my family's doing all right. Let's see. I've got Lima Bean, then Charles, then Dean on the horn. I just want to get to a super chat real quick from Jet Engine. Then we'll hop over that. Jet Engine says, Finn's fan is a bitch. You're damn right he is. You're damn right. It sounds like he left. Gonna go cry. I got Tua as my quarterback. He's gonna last 5 weeks and then he's gonna be gone. Oh, there he is. He says Jets lost to a third-string, seventh-round rookie. Yeah, I mean, the Jets also beat Josh Allen without our top 3 offensive weapons. Fins fan, sit down. Sit down. Quit being a biggity bitch. All right. Joining the show, we got Lima Bean. Lima Bean, how you doing tonight, brother?
Pretty good, man. It's just good to see a roster fill out. Like, back in the day, all these cuts we're trying to make, we'd be grabbing them from other teams. So, like, we have a good roster because these bubble guys, like that's what you want to do. Good teams cut good players because they have so many of them, and you can't keep them all. So it's good to see. Just gonna imagine seeing Green Bean like being sad about Yeboah and all these other guys that he loves. Like I don't know. I love Green Bean and everything, and I agree with a lot of things he said. But he gets attached to like these like low rung players too much. We can't overhype these guys. Like he's still talking about Greg Dortch. Like it's just
Oh yeah, that you got
like
Denzel Mims, you got P Ryan, you got.
if ask him this tomorrow, if he's backing Mims so much, like isn't Mims the new Jason Morrow? Because he just pretty much that's the same thing that happened. I mean, he never played and he keeps getting cut. Like nothing. Mims is a survivor, and Elijah Moore was a contender. That's kind of like how it was. But
Mhm.
Yeboah is going to go somewhere else and become someone's Jeff Cumberland. Like they'll. There's going to be a lot of guys like he's still talking about Pinnock and Cager. So like these guys aren't that good. Like back in the 2017 Jets, they would start because we needed them. Let them go to some like the Arizona Cardinals or whoever else and get their Keenan Cole numbers, like because they have nobody else, and then they won't start for most major teams. Like it's so that's good to see. But I guess trying to think about it, like it's good that we finally drafted like important positions over like the constant linebacker, safeties, and defensive tackles. Like
Mhm.
I just saw a video the other day, like saying that the Jets had the worst run of draft from 2012 to 2020. Second
Mhm.
was the Browns. Like it wasn't even close, and it's
Ooh.
just sad to see. And I just every time I get frustrated at the draft because there's always going to be like that group of people that says let's draft another DT because it's so like easy and defense wins championships. I'm just like shut the
Oh,
fuck
well,
up,
we
man.
saw
Just
with Davis this past year, right? Like, oh, if he falls, he makes it all the way to the Jets. Would you take him at
no.
13 or 14 or 15 or
It's
whatever
this.
pick we're
It's
watching?
it never. For every like Quinnen like, there's always going to be another Leo Williams, which just doesn't do shit for us. So like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's good to see, but like overall, like the one thing that used to piss me off the most is that there's like it's a deep receiver draft. So if we could wait, we'll catch another one in the second and third and fourth rounds, and that's how we keep ending up with our Darius Stewart and Hansons every freaking year. So I'm
Oh, dude, it was
I'm glad.
brutal.
Yeah, no, like Greg Salas, David Nelson, Sharon Peak. Like remember those guys?
Hmm. Oh yeah,
Other.
it's a long way away from where that offensive weapon cast was. Like you
I,
look at the 2016 class to where we are now, it's night and day different.
I just wish that Green Bean could have a call-in show because I just want to ask him about all these guys because he loves them so much, and I just can't. Like, it's like he needs to stop wanting to draft linebackers. They're not that good. Like most guys.
Boom, lima bean. Only doing this for 20 more minutes, so I'm getting you out of here. We got Charles joining the show. Charles, how you doing tonight, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Hanging in there, having a good old time. How'd you feel about Aaron Rodgers' first performance?
Well, I didn't watch the first half. I was at a luau dance in Ford's.
There you go.
So I saw the highlight of it when I got home. Like, oh shit, that throw was sexy as hell.
Oh, it was
Anyway,
great.
and Garrett Wilson caught over the dude's head. That was amazing. Um, um, it was a good game. I can't really complain. I'm surprised Trey Dean got. I remember how many so many people were talking. He did play well enough compared to the other running backs. Hopefully, Izzy comes back healthier because I really liked him. He impressed the hell out of me
Mm-hmm.
in the preseason with his speed and finesse and stuff like that. Um. Oh wow, taking a tailgate for Week 9 Jets versus Chargers. That should be a good game, man. I think that's
Damn
going to be a
right.
very good game.
Monday Night Football. Next day's Election Day, so a lot of people have off. Myself, Green Bean, O'Leary, balling out there. Gonna be excited.
I'm a huge fan of Justin Herbert too. So I mean, I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan more so, but I love me some Justin Herbert.
You better be. You better be a bigger Aaron Rodgers fan.
Oh come on now, bro.
Come on, Charles. Come on.
I mean, but no, that should be a good game. I think it's going to be I wouldn't say like a high scoring game, but maybe like a close game in my opinion. Um, 4 years ago, we were Jamal Adams and nobody else. Look at this roster now. Yeah, I'm looking at the comments on my
How are
screen.
you feeling about
Yeah,
Mekhi
I
Becton's
remember how
start?
many Jet fans, including myself, was so high on Jamal Adams.
Dude,
That
I was
was an
high on
injury
Jamal
prone.
until that trade deadline, and then I was like, yo, Jamal wants out, and people fucking rip me for it. They're like, there's no way, like, he's the guy, he's the leader. I was like, no, you watch. I was like, he's going to be out. He wants out of here. He's pissed off we didn't trade him in Dallas. And sure enough, as soon as his ass gets traded, he's got a cigar in his mouth. He's like, oh, I played all 10 fucking games with Seattle. Guess what? Jets got the better end of that deal. AVT and Garrett Wilson, I'll take them all day over Jamal.
Oh, absolutely. Joe Douglas, I'm going to actually talk a little bit about Joe Douglas. I think he's done a tremendous job building this team. I know his record doesn't speak for itself, but you can't just look at the stats. You got to look how he's building the team, and all of a sudden, the Jets look like a powerhouse. You know what I
Dude, we
mean?
look like juggernauts. One of the best quarterbacks in the league was like, I want to go there. Like, look at the dudes that guy's drafting. Look at that team that Salah and Douglas are building over there. I want to be over there. He was Squidward.
Have
We
a
were
good day,
SpongeBob
Ryan.
and Patrick. And now he wants to be with us. Charles, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, I got Dean, then Abe, then James coming up. I just want to jump over real quick to some super chats, then I'll hop over to your guys' calls. Jet Engine comes in, says, was a firefighter paramedic for 20 plus years. Tua is going to die if he plays, especially behind that garbage offensive line in Miami. Yeah, I agree. I think the offensive line is very shaky in Miami. I've said it before. I thought Tua should retire. I thought after that second hit, he had grounds to say, hey, look, NFL did me dirty. They wanted me out on the field. They just wanted to get whatever wins they could get out of me. And he should have sued the league, made his $500 million or whatever he would have gotten that settlement, and rode off into the sunset. I don't wish any harm on the guy, but he can't stay healthy. He's hurt, almost all the time. I want to be able to play the Dolphins while they are at their best, because I do not want to have to deal with the Dolphins fans saying, oh, you guys had to go against Teddy Bridgewater. Oh, Teddy Bridgewater got hurt. You had to go against, whoever the frig their backup was last year. I want to see all of our division rivals at their best get pummeled by our best. Hector comes in. Hector says, trolls complain about us beating up on backups, but we're playing with a backup in Zach Wilson, and how that went for them. Jet up, we're going all the way. That's what I try to say. Look, Buffalo, we beat Buffalo, arguably the top seed in the AFC. No AVT, no Breece Hall, no Corey Davis. Zach Wilson throws 150 yards. I had some dude in my comment section saying, oh, you think the Jets can beat the Bills? Yeah, I do. I think if you give me AVT, Breece Hall, and Dalvin Cook with Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, we're going to abuse the fucking Bills. Excuse my French. I'm a little salty at this point in the night. I've had a few beers. Feeling pretty good. All right, let's hop over to our next call. We got Dean B. Dean, how you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing well, man. How you doing, bud?
I'm hanging in there. How you feeling about the preseason and our outlooks coming into week one?
I'm feeling pretty good about it, man. I had a lot of concerns in the middle of the OTAs and whatnot, but it seemed like a lot of them got cleared up pretty quickly, especially with Becton finally getting on the right-hand side of that line. Yep. I had my main question, especially seeing your topics when going down to Corey Davis. I've seen Darnell Mooney's name brought up a lot, and I saw him get a ton of separation last year, and Justin Fields just kind of airmail balls straight over his head all year. I think we can get him for a steal, and I was kind of wondering how you see him fit in the offense and whose spot he would kind of be taking.
So let me I want to pull up his contract because I don't know offhand. Someone texted me that, but I wasn't sure what his actual cap hit is. So he's in the last year of his contract. If he's traded to us, he would be just under a $3 million cap hit. 26 years old. Last year played in 12 games. Had 493 yards and 2 touchdowns. So very underwhelming year, when the year prior he played all season, had over 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. So I'm not opposed to bringing him in. I think it's probably going to wait until it's a little bit closer to the trade deadline if it's going to happen. He's 5'11". We kind of already have that smaller guy. I'm looking for a little bit of a bigger bodied receiver than maybe Mooney is, but I'm not opposed to him.
Okay. No, I see that too. I think his underperforming last year was a lot of airmails. I mean, I saw him get a ton of separation. His film looked really good, but that's why I thought maybe we could get him for a steal. The other thing was, I keep hearing about how terrifying this upcoming schedule is in the beginning of the season. But it seems like if you really look down at the paper, it seems like we match up really well with all these teams. The Eagles are going to be a little bit of a tough one. But their linebackers and secondary are a little bit weak. So maybe if we can get to the second level, things change a little bit. Chris Jones isn't going to be playing for KC for a little while. So it looks like their pass rush is going to be a little bit weak when we get to play them. It just seems like all these tough teams kind of come in the right part of the year for us. I feel like we can do a lot better than what's anticipated. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I think the Jets should be able to beat Buffalo at home. I think we do stand a good chance to beat Dallas at home. Their defense is going to be tough, and how Micah Parsons is handled with our offensive line, I think, is going to be something to keep an eye on. I trust our defense against any one of these teams' offenses. So I trust us against New England. I trust us against Denver. And then KC, look, Mahomes is scary. Kelsey is scary, but I do trust our defense. Philadelphia, like you mentioned, I would say is our worst matchup. If I could pick one team not to go against, it would be Philadelphia. I think they have the pass rushers to cause us problems, and I think their rushing quarterback is going to make it a lot more difficult on our defense, going to cause a little bit more strain. Dean, thank you so much for the
Thanks,
call.
bud.
You've been ejected from the cockpit. We've got Abe joining the show. Abe, how you doing tonight, brother?
What's good, Ryan? How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. How you feeling about this past preseason and our outlook going into the regular season?
Honestly, yeah, like some people were saying before, like I would have been a lot more worried. At the beginning, I was a lot more worried at the beginning of OTAs, especially like with the O-line and stuff. But I mean, overall, hey, Mekhi Becton here in the starting job, he shut the doubters up. I mean, well, he still has to, go out there and play, more than a regular season game, play some full games, stuff like that. But hey, the guy's journey has been nothing but inspirational. He's put the work in, and he really did deserve that spot. I just wanted to say it's kind of funny. I'm wearing that Jets Talk 24/7 band that you gave me at training camp. I haven't taken that off since.
I love it. I gave one out
yeah.
today. I was standing in line with one buddy at the Sauce event, and he's just like, "Oh, you have a YouTube channel?" Because I had someone come up. I was like, "Oh yeah, take a picture, sure, why not?" I was like, "Here's my wristband."
Hey.
Love it. Glad to see you have it on.
Yeah, I got mine on. Yeah, real quick, I just want to say it's kind of funny. Speaking of the Dalvin Cook situation, so actually in 2017, I actually wanted Dalvin Cook for the Jets because I was like applying to college around that time, and I wanted to go to Florida State, and like Dalvin Cook was like a monster in college, so I was like, damn, like come on, we please get him. Then we ended up picking Marcus May in the second round while Dalvin Cook was still there, and I was screaming at the TV. But it's funny how things work
I
out,
wanted Dalvin Cook in the first round. And then I found out like all the issues he had with like police and dating back to high school and everything, and then he fell out of the first. And I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense not to do that. But I thought skill wise, he was every bit a first round pick. So us passing on him in the second round was crazy to me.
Nah, hell yeah. I'm just really excited. I'm currently at work right now. I'm on break, so I gotta do this really quick. But yeah, really excited to watch 1JD tonight. Watch Hard Knocks tomorrow, and it would have been nice if my girlfriend could have gotten the football signed because that day of training camp I bought a football and a Sharpie for $40 together, and then it was only Trey Dean that ended up signing my football. So I was hoping that Sauce would sign the football, but like you said, his agent wasn't letting him.
Oh yeah, no. I felt bad because I was in the last day of training camp this past Wednesday. I'm there with a few people, and I'm like standing at the line, and like two offensive linemen, I think it was Max Mitchell and Wes, came up, and I was like, "Ooh, I want to get a signature from someone else." like gotta save my spot on my hat for somewhere. I was like, whatever. It is what it is.
I have a football signed by like Jamal Adams, Marcus May, Leonard Williams, like all these guys. I think it was like training camp 2017. So what a throwback. What a change it's been. I can't believe we're here right now. I'm super excited for the season, and man, I just can't wait. These next 2 weeks are gonna be way too long. But man, thank you for having me on the call, man. I hope to talk to you again soon.
Hell yeah, dude. Absolutely. Thank you so much for hopping on. You have been ejected from the cockpit. All right, we're gonna hop over to James. James, fight or flight? How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited. And speaking of signed things, I don't know if you can see my video, but I got the 1969 Super Bowl team autographed on a helmet. It's my prized possession, and I'm trying to get a 2023 signed helmet with a Super Bowl championship right next to it after the end of this year. Let's go.
I'm loving the light setup. You guys can't see it, but he's got the glowing lights. He's got the microphone. Is that the Shure MV7 as well? The microphone?
The SM7B.
Ooh, very nice. I was gonna get that
Yep.
one. I got the USB mic. I got the little brother version of it. Actually,
Can't go wrong with that. It's a solid mic. I used to have a Rode Pod mic before this. We actually had our pilot episode for our Jets show today.
Very cool.
Very
Plug
excited.
Plug it right now while you're on here.
The Fight or Flight podcast, dude. I appreciate you letting me plug my show. We had a pilot episode tonight. We're live every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Hell yeah. I love it.
But yeah, lifelong Jets fan. I'll tell you right now, I haven't been this excited for a Jets season since 1998. Like even 09 and 10. Like we had Mark Sanchez as a rookie sophomore year.
Mhm.
We knew he was a game manager. We had Tom Brady in our division. Like there was still some questions. 98, I was very excited till Testaverde got hurt, and this year, I can't tell you how excited I am, man. It's usually Yankee baseball till October, and Jets football. It's like, all right, here we go, another year of just watching miserable football, and finally we have a squad. And I don't know what they're gonna do on defense, dude. We have so many weapons. We are so deep. Carl Lawson being hurt, I think, is going to give Jermaine Johnson a huge platform to take that spot permanently, and Carl Lawson be a rotation guy. He's been playing lights out in the preseason and in camp, and I'm interested to see how much work Will McDonald gets, because he's been a freak, man. I don't think they're going to use him just in pass rushing situations. I think he's going to get some first and second down reps with Quinnen and the big boys. I think maybe not in the beginning of the season, but at the end of the season we'll see him, I think.
That would make me feel good. Jermaine Johnson, I would say, is my biggest leap from year 1 to year 2 on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think it's even going to be close. He looks like a completely different player, and I want him on the 100%. Field all the time, first and second down. And then if you want to put in Huff and McDonald on third down, totally fine with that. I don't know what's going on with Carl Lawson. I know the back has been a little bit of an issue, and it seems like he's going to be at least short-term IR, maybe the first 4 weeks. I've heard rumors like maybe season ender. Hoping that's not the case, because it's totally unfounded, the rumors that I'm hearing, but we'll see.
I'm hoping that's not the case, but we'll see. He's been very underwhelming. Unfortunately, he had that Achilles injury, which most people don't come back from. But we're so deep at that position that if he can even be half as good as he was when he was with the Bengals, I think he'll be okay, especially if Jermaine can take that position. Bryce Huff is just so underrated. The guy is around the ball 20 all the time. Every time he's on the field, he can't stop the run for shit. But when he's pass rushing, the guy is truly unbelievable.
Dude,
it's going to be an interesting.
Did you see Joe Blewett's tweet about Bryce Huff the other day? He had it where he went frame by frame to show just where Bryce Huff was on the field from the snap and where the rest of our defensive lineman was. He was like 2 yards upfield before anyone else moved. Like, unreal. Look up Joe RB or Joe Blewett on Twitter and look it up. Like,
I'm gonna check it out.
Huff thing. If anyone in the chat, you got to look it up. It's incredible how fast this guy is off the edge.
I'm going to check it out, because Bryce Huff is truly a talent, and nobody knows about him. And I think he's going to get 5 or 6 sacks minimum this year. What do you think about Jermaine Johnson? You think he's going to get double digits this year? I think I'm shooting for it.
Dude, last year I would have said if Sauce wasn't there at 4, Jermaine Johnson was my pick at 4. I would have taken him.
Really?
Really? I was like, look, I want Sauce at 4. If it's not him, I want JJ. I didn't want to touch KT. I didn't want to touch Thibodeau.
No, I didn't either.
I thought
neither did I.
I was like, I don't buy that he's in this for the long term. So we get Sauce at 4. I'm like, okay, it's got to be JJ at 10. And then it's Garrett Wilson. I was like, wow, what do we do? So
dude, I was down on Garrett too. I wanted Jamal Williams from the Detroit got. I wanted him from Alabama.
Jameson Williams.
Jameson Williams. I'm sorry,
dude. I thought Jameson Williams and George Pickens were the 2 best wide receivers in last year's draft, and I think it's going to end up being like they're 2 of the better ones. Garrett Wilson probably going to end up being the best one of the bunch with Aaron Rodgers here.
Him and Olave, I think, are going to be the fighter for the best wide receiver out of that class. Olave's a stud too.
Dude, the Ohio State wide receivers totally caught me off guard. I was not prepared for them to do as well as they did.
No kidding. And then you got Smith and Jigba on Seattle this year with our old boy Geno. He's hurt right now, but he looks pretty good. And Garrett and Olave both said that he was better than him at Ohio. So I'd be interested to see if he can make it an impact with DK on the outside. But you know, the Jets defense is going to be tough to deal with for anybody. Like Seattle would have no shot. They're probably so happy they don't have to see us this year. But look at our schedule. We have the toughest schedule in football, I think, in probably the toughest division. The AFC North is pretty close. They have a tough division too. But we could beat anybody on that schedule. Going undefeated is very unrealistic, but we have the potential to win every game 100%.
I completely agree with you. I would take our defense across any team. I would say the Eagles are the one team that I think we don't match up great with because of the speed.
That's what I said today.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. James, thank you so much for the call. I'm totally going to check out your Fight or Flight.
We'd love to have you on sometime. It'd be a blast. You're a great Jets analyst, man. Keep up the great work. God bless you.
Thank you so much, dude. I will talk to you later, and I'll definitely hop on. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right. I've got Chris from Florida, but I'm going to ask Chris to hold on just a second because I got to get to a few super chats. Phil comes in, says, Brett Toth, offensive tackle, 26 years old, could be an Eagles cut. Thoughts? I'll be honest, I don't know enough about him, so I cannot speak intelligently on it. So I do have to do a little bit more research on him. I won't try to blow smoke up your butt. Bearded V-tier says, is N'Keal Harry worth trying to practice squad and groom? Could be direct Corey Davis replacement at 6'4" and decent blocking. So I really wanted N'Keal Harry. Was he out of Arizona State when he came out of college? I'm pretty sure that's where it was. And he wound up going to New England. And I was like, oh man, like they got a really good player. And then he wound up not doing anything. And I don't know if that was a reflection on the New England side of things or if that's a reflection on the N'Keal Harry side of things. Either way, I wouldn't mind kicking the tires on him if Joe Douglas deemed that, deemed him worthy. But I don't know. I'm not going to jump off my seat to go pay N'Keal Harry, if that makes sense. I did have Chris from Florida on. Chris from Florida hopped off, I guess. So that might be it. We'll see. Let's go through a few comments here that you guys have had in the chat. Hector says, Cheesehead is so bored of talking with Cornfield that he has to come here and troll all around. I don't mind having the Packers fans come in. They seem pretty happy with Jordan Love. And Cheesehead, that's okay. I understand. You're a little disappointed. Your deity Aaron Rodgers is gone. You could be a fan of the Jets. It's okay. We won't tell anyone. You still like your Packers. But you can have a second favorite in the AFC side of things. I got my cheese head back there. It's more of a pizza head right now. There's pepperoni pizza slices or pepperoni slices on top of it. Abe says, I hope Jordan Love pans out for you guys. Cheesehead, wish you weren't such a shitty fan, but they can't all be good. Oh, man, Cheesehead, you got everyone fired up. We're glad to have you. Creating engagement, I guess. Jermaine says, hey, Ryan, you keep stepping it up with the awesome graphics. Thank you, dude. Now that I'm officially focusing more on the content side of things, for the last few years, I've been working 50 hours a week plus trying to do Jet stuff. I'm trying to put a little bit more energy into my weekly shows so you see a little bit more of the graphics and the clips and things of that nature. So I'm hoping I can provide a little bit of substance to you guys out there in Jetland. And if you enjoy what you're seeing here and you feel I have earned a like, I encourage you to hit the like button because it does help the algorithm. It does help the channel grow. Allows me to make some more great content for you guys. Jets fan forever says, no new friends. Sorry, Cheesehead. No new friends. Jets fan forever made it be already. All right, boys and girls, we've hit the 10 o'clock hour here. Real quick, going over my thoughts. Aaron Rodgers thought he did well in his debut with the New York Jets. I'm excited to see what we get from him in the regular season. I didn't feel like I needed to see more than the 2 drives out of him. I thought if Randall Cobb did not give the crackback block, there's a good chance the Jets would have scored 2 times in 2 drives, whether it be a touchdown and a touchdown or a field goal and touchdown. Either way, would have been very, very happy with it. On the offensive line side of things, Mekhi Becton earning the right tackle slot. I think he is clearly our best tackle on our team when he is healthy. If he can stay healthy the entire season, he's going to have a big, big year. On the defensive line side of things, do I think we have the best defensive line in the league? I think at the very least we have the deepest defensive line in the league. I would argue that our top 3 defensive lines might start on other teams. Our top 2 definitely would, but arguably our third as well. Corey Davis retiring, ashamed to see him go. Was really looking forward to seeing what he could provide to us this year with Aaron Rodgers. The Packers at one point had tried to trade for Corey Davis, so I thought Rodgers wanted to play with him. And Davis would have been pumped with that. But he does himself a solid, takes care of his family. Corey Davis, I wish you nothing but the best. As far as the final 53-man roster goes, there's going to be a lot of surprising cuts. There's going to be guys that we didn't expect to get cut. I'm curious to see how my little roster prediction winds up working out over these next day and a half or so, but we'll see where it all pans out. Boys and girls, we are going to be back here tomorrow with the Talkin' Jets panel, myself, O'Leary, and Green Bean from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock over on the Talkin' Jets channel. Make sure you hit up that channel over there to catch everything going on. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you tonight. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.